Hello, today we're going to be taking a look at the Dreo Solaris Slim H2 PTC fan heater. And while I'm pulling it out, let's go over a little bit of the product information. The Dreo Solaris Slim H2 claims it can do fast heating, 2 seconds to 1,500 watts, 11.5 feet per second of wind speed, V2 flame resistant, overheat protection, tip over protection, cool touch housing, child lock on the controls, auto cutoff in case of excessively high temperature, temperature sensor to maintain room temperature between 41 and 95 degrees C, Fahrenheit, 34 decibels at H1, 7 degrees oscillating, 12 timer. Heating element is PTC ceramics, eco mode, high efficiency, and it's 3 heating modes. Heat mode 3, 1,500 watts at 10.8 feet per second of airflow. Heat mode 2, 1,300 watts at 8.2 feet per second of airflow. And heat mode 1, which is 900 watts at 7.2 feet per second of airflow. It's got a high precision temperature reading chip as well as an upgraded reduced noise fan. So just scrolling through the website a little bit. Enhanced safety in the plug, so it's got the circuitry for shielding in it, tip over protection at about 45 degrees, energy usage for high efficiency modes, the high temperature range, oscillating modes, easy to carry, I did find that, unleash the high performance warmth, 56% larger thermal fins, so this is just how efficiently heat travels through the rods and then it gets distributed through these fins. Basically the opposite of a radiator in a PC. And then this cool high efficiency fan that helps direct airflow through it, 11.6 feet per second of airflow at maximum far reaching heat. We're going to test that. 30% higher efficiency. Can't really test that unfortunately, but let's go ahead and take a look. Alright, as I do things, it has a quick start guide and it has a little bag, if I can get it open, with the user manual and a little remote. And this remote, pretty standard fare. It looks like it uses a puck style battery. How do you open it? Well, as a general note, the battery compartment, if I can get on camera, it is releasable. However, I could not get it with my fingernail, which means I probably would need to pry it open with like a screwdriver or something just to make it in there. But the remote, I mean, it's plastic, but it looks nice, which is good. And here it is. And while I have it just opened up sitting like this, I'd like to take this time to thank Dreo for sending me over this unit to take a look at. So this is not like one of my formal reviews because I'm not equipped to do thermal testing really very well. I don't have a thermocouple to do the analysis, but I can check how far back I can feel the heat and check the air speed coming out of it at distances as well as noise levels. So I'm going to focus on those aspects of it as well as the overall feature package. So this is more like a first impressions video for me, just because my channel has certain limitations that it has right now. So right here on the top, you got the power button. You got the side-to-side motion, more heat, less heat, more heat. Looks like if you push 2 together, it's going to be a lock, some kind of menu, and a control. Pretty basic. Let's check it out. All right, before we do like the full testing, so we got the remote. It's on H1, H2, H3. The oscillating motion. Oh, that turns off the beeping button for it. We can set various timers. The heat is blowing on me and I am inside. Come on. There we go. Oh, it's getting quite toasty in the house. Okay, pushing this menu button allows you to then set the temperature so that you can set your room to be whatever temperature you'd like. And we need to zoom in a little bit and turn off. So there's a countdown timer on it. We're going to do the tip over protection test here in a minute when I go to the garage to the rest of the heat testing, because otherwise it's going to get too hot in the house. Alright, so I don't know how easy it is to see, but inside here, if we can, you can see the vertical metal rungs in there behind this silver metal screen. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So the fin height for the heating element goes from about here, well, I'm off camera, goes from about here to about here. So the heating space is about this much out of the whole unit. If we flip around the back, let's try zooming in again, you can see the cooling fan is sitting right there in the middle. See if I get it a little bit off axis. So the fan on there actually looks pretty advanced. It has a fan blade design that's reminiscent of like the General Typhoon and the HL635 and the other ones, but obviously the air is going this way. The fan height is this. We're gonna, the fan height looks to be about this. Oh, can I turn that around with one hand without messing it up? The fan is a little bit smaller than the fin stack, but depending on how the geometry and stuff and how much space there is between the fan and this, it would fully utilize that space. It's just kind of a general comment. My whole channel is kind of based around fans. If you are wondering, I did take my tape measure to it and estimate it, and it looks to be a standard 120 millimeter size fan. So while I have it set up here, full disclosure time, I do own a heater from this brand and from Dreo, and I've been personally very happy with it. This is my first look at this unit. So again, pushing the button can go from heat mode to fan only mode, so it'll just circulate air, and of course to the high 3 and go high 2, high 1. So I personally just like setting it to temperature, so you can set the exact temperature you want. I'm sitting, how far away from this thing right now? You're going to see it a little off camera. But I am sitting, I don't know, 47 inches away from this thing, and I feel a good amount of air. Mind, it is at full. When we put on... So, at the lowest setting, I don't really feel air at this distance. At high 2, not too much. High 3, definitely. So I wonder if I can... Nope. Setting it to temperature automatically uses it in a higher performance mode, and this is the mode that I'm going to use for testing at the various distances using my handy-dandy anemometer to measure air speed. And I'm going to have my decibel reading to get some noise levels at a couple different distances. Okay, first up, we're doing 15 inches, as you can see on there. So 15 inches. I'm going to bring the microphone to the edge of that so you can hear the noise level. So the noise level looked to be about 54 decibels at that distance. So this might be the distance that you would have this sitting on a desk or under your desk. Of course, then the desk is going to block some of the sound, but that sort of thing. And let's go ahead and turn on my anemometer and get a basic heat reading, or temperature, or speed, airspeed reading. Trying to put it in rough line with it, and we're at about 1.2 2 meters per second of airspeed at about 15 inches, putting it right in the middle. If I move off axis, lifting up, obviously it's going to be slower. But if you get it right in line with where it's blowing air, it moves at about 2 meters per second, which is a good bit of airflow. Let's move it back a little bit. All right, we're going to be at 30 inches, so twice as far. Hopefully we get some good measurements. That is at almost the distance my camera is, so if things are a little off camera, bear with me. I'm going to move the microphone so you can hear the sound from this distance, as well as using the decibel reader and then the animal. About 50 decibels. So obviously the further away from an object you get, the quieter it will sound. So putting this into a room, you may not even notice it. Looks to be about 1.56, 1.7, 1.8. Wow. Was I just not in the sweet spot before? No. So 1.5 to 1.7, 1.8. So it has a good, well, the fin stack is actually going to help streamline the air. So it's not necessarily the quality of how good the fan is able to blow air. Certainly it must be a pretty good quality fan though. But it's blowing it through. Okay, now we're going to do 45 inches. And this will be, I need to shift my camera backwards a hot minute. So we're doing this live. So obviously, you know, it's uncut. Sorry for the wiggles in this camera. First, the decibel reading. Around 44, 45, so significantly quieter. I wouldn't call this loud at all. Let's check the airspeed on the handy dandy anemometer. Looks like 1.1 meters per second of air at 45 inches. And just so you don't think I'm lying or anything, all right, just turned it off. And there goes my anemometer to 0. So it has great projection of how far it will send off the air. Okay, now we need to talk safety. So every space heater, especially these smaller ones, should have tip over protection. The heat is on, it is going. There we go. 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 26, 27. Well, it's blowing cold air completely now. There we go. So around 30 seconds for it to completely shut off. So it continues to blow air out of it while it cools itself down. Personally, I'd rather it just shut off. But this, I suppose, does help it dissipate heat a little bit better. So I guess that's just my thought on it. And if you did notice that when it has heat in it, it has that heat countdown timer, this timer you see right here, and the fan just helps cool down this, and by pushing the power again you can just completely shut it off. I don't know if you care, if you think it's a feature or non-feature, but you know, it's there. And well, I'm going to turn it off here for a second. There we go. let's take a quick look at the bottom. There's no push peg on the bottom. So a lot of cheaper ones will have a little push peg that is that will trigger. So it's going to have little something inside of it that triggers if it's fallen over. Let's play around with that for a hot minute. If I do that, what? Oh, no, I just hit the temperature button. So what will trigger fall over? Right there. So what's that? A little bit past 45 degrees. If I bring it back vertical, it continues its shutdown. So you just have to power it up again. And as we wrap this up, let's talk about materials. The front casing on it does sound like metal. It sounds, I mean, it's not going to be plastic, right? Heat's coming out of it. So it better be metal. What I'm even talking about. But it's metal. It has this little circular grid to it. It seems to be doing just fine with plenty of gap to allow the air to go through it. I'd like to see the metal actually a little bit thinner, but then it would make it a little bit less rugged. But it would allow the air to travel through a little bit easier. But it seems to have pretty even airflow too. So maybe I'm just being a nitpick on that. The whole back of the casing on it is plastic. Weight feels pretty good. Tip over protection. I'm not hitting it that hard, but I would call it adequately stable. Certainly a good whack on it would cause it to tip over. Top housing, completely plastic. Bottom housing, plastic. What else? What else do we want to talk about? Caution, warning, hot. That makes a lot of sense. All right, I do want to leave a general conclusion time in, even though this isn't a full review. Full featured package, metal front, it rotates. What else? The different temperature settings for high, medium, low for those default heat temperatures that they set within the device, or you can manually set whatever temperature you want, as well as a timer. Just seems like a really full featured package. And for me, the win feature is the fact that it uses what appears to be a standard axial fan. You can pop out these screws, potentially. I can't test it. If I deploy this in my room and it eventually wears out, I will have a video about if I can swap out that fan, but it looks like it has the potential for that. So potentially you can make this even quieter by replacing that fan. I wouldn't recommend doing that, just as a full disclosure. But if the fan were to ever go bad, you can swap it out for a different one and keep this thing alive. Just seems like it has a lot of really great features. It's a well-rounded package. And I do own one of their more basic models. Again, full disclosure, personally in the house. It's actually in one of my previous reviews, probably from last winter. And I recommend that one. We've been using it this winter already so far and love it. And if it's the same reliability, the fan looks identical to it. So it looks like a good package from where I'm sitting. But I'll leave it to you. The product is in the video description if you want to check it out. And well, thank you again for joining me on this. What was I calling it before? Open box type experience on this product.